Logitech has had a hold on the lower end of sim racing equipment for 15 or more years for very good reasons. Their offers have always been interesting, but since the Logitech G25 has been released, they have found more or less a winning formula. Since then, they have steadily but surely refined that formula into something that is easily recognizable as a great reliable value. The newest iteration of the Logitech G wheel formula is this one, the Logitech G923, that while it looks exactly the same as the Logitech G29, it has some tricks up its sleeve. This time, Logitech is offering their wheel under the same banner, the Logitech G923. While last generation you'd have to pick up the Logitech G29 for the PlayStation 4 and the Logitech G920 for the Xbox, this time both of them are using the Logitech G923 flavor. While there are two versions for it, one for the Xbox and one for the PlayStation, they're essentially exactly the same wheel despite the compatibility differences. This wheel was provided by Logitech for review, so take my review with a grain of salt. You should see the Logitech G923 as a technical evolution of that wheel range, or rather a facelift of the Logitech G29 G923. There are some improvements internally on which we should talk about soon, but physically the format is a copy-paste of the Logitech G29. The wheel is 28 centimeters in diameter with rev lights and I believe 19 buttons, a rotary encoder that works as two assignable buttons, and a paddle shifter set. The wheel is built using aluminum and it's wrapped with decent quality leather that should last you quite a while. Torque-wise, the Hall effect gear-driven wheelbase should deliver around 2.5 Newton meters of torque, adding a new feature called Trueforce. Physically, the wheel is essentially the same as the last generation, so it means you both have the good parts and the bad parts of that design. So you'll have this wheel itself exactly the same, maybe just a little bit of different color. It will have the same button layout, which is okay generally, but for smaller hands it could be a bit of an issue to overreach some of the buttons, but generally I didn't find it too difficult. My main problem with this, like it was on a G29, was the R2, R3, L2, R3. Over here, these buttons are not too good. These two are okay. This one it just feels a bit floppy. As for the wheelbase itself, exactly the same design as before. You can use the clamps over here, tightening the knobs. It will tighten the clamps. On the back, you'll see the clamps themselves. They'll extend. Very much like the G29, exactly the same as G29, G25, and G27. You can also hard mount these with using these two, I believe it's a 6mm pattern, a screw or pattern bolt. And you can also see the bad part of all of this, which will be the connections that need to be routed through these cable routing channels of sorts. That means if they're not correctly routed, once you clamp them down, you might score and break the cables. I've seen that happen before, and it can definitely score the cables and make your usage of the wheel, well, basically wrecked. This is also compatible with the Logitech shifter. That means you can buy the Logitech shifter separately, or if you have a current Logitech shifter, you can use that one using this connector over here that will be routed around here. As for the pedals themselves, you know this design. It's been the same for 15 years or so. Same plastic base. It's a little bit more rigid, I think, this time. And in terms of pedal faces, same exact design. So metal plate faces, metal hinges as well, and the pedal rates are exactly the same on the throttle and clutch. The clutch has just a little more rate. The main difference is between both these pedals, which will be the brake pedal. Now it has a progressive spring inside. It feels definitely more progressive. On the other side, you can show that it has, once again, the same design. You don't need to change everything when it's good. So that means if you need to use this on the carpet, you can use it on the carpet. Just press this button and it will extend these spikes over here, so you can use it on the carpet. If you want to use it on the floor, it will have around 10, actually it will have 8 rubber feet, so it will give you some support. I suppose it won't slide all over the place. Then again, these are not very heavy pedals. And if you want hard mount these, you can hard mount these with these 6mm screws. Price-wise, this wheel set should set you back $400, 400 euros, or 350 pounds, which is quite a lot, isn't it? I've tried the G923 with a few titles. In the PC with Assetto Corsa Competizione, and Project Cars 2, while on the PlayStation, I tried this with GT Sport. I mentioned that while physically they're exactly the same, but despite the look, there are some important differences. Starting with the wheel, the drive itself is significantly smoother for this generation. It still provides that notchiness of a gear drive, but this time it seems to be less pronounced, which is an impressive feat. The effects are quite crisp in Assetto Corsa, but especially in GT Sport, where the Trueforce integrates rather well. What Trueforce is an emulated haptic feedback that will pick up cues from supported titles' physics and then bringing extra vibrations in the wheel. In GT Sport, it does integrate quite well, but on the PC with Assetto Corsa Competizione, I didn't like it at all. You can feel something rotating inside of the wheelbase, and it's just too annoying to be used. So for me, the only way to drive this wheel in Assetto Corsa Competizione is turning off the Trueforce altogether. As physically, the internals of the Logitech G923 are almost exactly the same except on the logic port. The motors are exactly the same as the Logitech G29. I believe that Trueforce is a mix of circuit controllers and firmware, so it will only be available in certain titles at this moment in GT Sport, Assetto Corsa Competizione, Grid, and I believe a couple of others. But the integration of Trueforce, it's basically hit or miss, and I don't think it will be something that will be very used in the future. Another addition is the programmable dual clutch that will be very useful for standing starts, but personally I didn't try it. The pedals remain exactly the same, except where it matters, which is the brake pedal. Logitech received some criticism in the last generation with the dual stage brake pedal, so they decided this time to add a progressive spring instead. The result is once again a great pedal set in my opinion. The main problem for this Logitech wheel is not the feature set or it looks exactly the same as the previous generation, it's going to be the price. The main driver of sales of the Logitech wheels always have been on price, and now they are releasing this at 300 pounds, 350 pounds, $400 and whatnot. I know some of you will be saying the previous generation did launch at this price range, and you could probably factor in some inflation as well into the equation, but there is a problem into it. The previous generation did not have the T300RS as competition. This wheel set is competing not only with the T300RS, it's competing with the T300RS GT. In the United Kingdom, this wheel is selling for 350 pounds. For 20 pounds more, you can buy a brand spanking new 300RS GT. That means it comes with a 3-pedal set. At that price range, it's very hard to recommend that wheel. Then there's another type of competition, which is with Logitech itself. Logitech last generation wasn't competing with the G27. This time, this wheel will be competing with the G29. And on Amazon, I can find the G29 for 230 pounds new, and with the shifter for 270 pounds new. At that price, I can't really recommend this wheel. As for conclusions, it's improved from the last generation. It has a better drive. The pedals are better than last generation. So great wheel set, bad price in 2020. And that's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Tell me in the comments what you think about this wheel set and what are your conclusions if you bought it and you're using it. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you'll see new videos and streams as they come out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.